Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I'm so grateful that you guys are on my channel supporting me in so many different ways. I really appreciate it. And of course, if you guys are interested in supporting me further, you can do that by going on to my Patreon link. The link is in the description below and you can give me $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you guys prefer. In this one, I wanted to speak to you guys about a question that someone asked. Now, I apologize, I did not write the name down. I'm not very good at that right now. And the question was, how do you deal with sensing people? I think I was asked this question on my INFJ Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on there, you can do that. Boom, Shikha INFJ is my name on there. Okay. And so she said, how do you deal with sensing people? Right. And I think it's such a fascinating question because I feel like they look at us like we're a weird creature, like a mammoth out of nowhere, like, something that is not really real, like unicorn. And we look at them thinking, my God, how do they live in the world? I mean, how did they survive? I always ask this question to myself, is like, how do they survive in the world without intuition? How do they live in the world without intuition? How do they move through the world without intuition? It seems like a paralyzing way for me to live if I did not have my intuition, if I wasn't able to make all these connections that I can because of my intuition. I can't imagine how I would live in the world. But of course, they are living in the world and they're thriving in the world, doing much better than we are. So of course we have something to learn from them. And that's one of the things that I really want you guys to understand, is that there's a reason that they exist in the world, and there's a reason we exist in the world. We're not the only ones on this planet that are there for a reason. Every single being on this planet, every single being and thing, even every rock on this planet is there for a reason, right? To fulfill certain purpose to them, right? And so it is necessary to have both sensing people and intuitive people and every other kind of person on this planet is necessary in order for this world to behave in a perfect holistic fashion, right? If we only had intuitive people, I think it would be such a skewed world that we'd live in. And, most intuitive people just spend all their time in their heads or in their intuition. So nothing real would really get done in the world, right? We need sensing people in order to balance us out. Sensing people are the ones who really get a lot of shit done, like in the physical world. They're the ones who are mostly the athletes. They're the ones who are mostly the ones who are building things, or the architects, or the doctors, things like that. I mean, a lot, obviously, we have both intuitives and sensing in every profession. But I feel like really sensing people are the ones that we need in order to really take care of this physical realm that we live in, right? And so when she said, how do you deal with sensing people, I would say the same way you deal with anyone, right? Try to understand who they are, try to understand how they speak, what they are like, and then speak their language. I've told you guys this before millions of times. Well, not millions, dozens of times. That what we do is that we assume that everyone should understand us. And we're upset when we're not understood, yeah? But we don't try to understand other people and their perspective, right? I mean, we understand them because of our intuition, but when they do things that are not according to our standards or according to how we would do things, we don't try to understand why they do the things they do and why did they choose that action rather than something else. I'm always, when I'm with sensing people, and I have to say this beforehand, I don't have many sensing people in my life. I don't know what it is. Maybe they don't like me, or they don't interact properly with me, or maybe I am filtering them out somehow. I have no idea. I only have a couple of sensing people in my life, and I wish I had more because I know I can learn a lot from them, but I really don't. Or I just haven't asked them, perhaps. I know all the intuitive people in my life, and I have 2 sensing people, but I'm sure I have more, but I just don't know what their personality type is, yeah? But so mostly I don't have a lot, but when I'm dealing with sensing people in general, when I'm in the world in general, if I'm dealing with a grocery cashier or grocery store cashier, or I'm at the MTO, like the Ministry of Transportation, and doing some paperwork, a lot of those people are going to be sensing people, right? Because a lot of sensors like that kind of administrative work. They like that kind of stuff. They like rules. They like laws. They like things written out. Things like that, right? We're dealing in general, we're dealing with sensitive people all the time. And I realize that they do not mostly understand language that I would use for an intuitive person. I cannot say to a sensing person, I feel like this is the right answer because my heart is telling me so. They're not going to get that. It's going to fly over their head and they're going to look at you like you're insane, like you have two heads, right? So I always try, whenever I don't know what the person's like, I have no idea who they are, then I always try to speak as normally as I can say, as possible for me. I try to speak as normally as possible. So, and I try to behave as normally as possible too. So it's okay. I mean, I don't mind it because these are temporary things and I'm not really putting on a mask for too long. And I don't feel like it's a mask. I'm adapting to their personality. So I don't think of it as a mask. I don't think that it's stifling in any way or shape or form because I spend so much of my time being myself and being who I am. Even if I have to deal with sensing people in their own way a couple of times a week, it doesn't really matter to me. Yeah. And so, as I said, I try to understand what they're interested in. If I think they're sensing, I probably will speak mostly about the world in general as it is right now. So I won't try to make predictions or I won't be like, oh, intuitively I think this or that. I'll just speak about the world as it is right now in this moment in time. So we'll mostly speak about sports, not that I know much about it. Mostly I'll just ask them a lot of questions because I don't know anything about them. And so I usually just try whenever I meet a new person, especially if I think they're a sensing person, that I want to focus on their life. I want to learn about them. I want to learn from them. I want to learn how they think about the world. I want to learn how they look at the world. How did they analyze what's going on in the world? I'll ask them questions about, politics, or I'll ask them about their opinions on the environment or what's going on right now in the world. I'll ask them if they support Trump or not. I'll ask them about racism or things like that. And I always just kind of try to gauge what this person's like. And then once I have a little bit of an idea of, what kind of a person they are, then I'll just kind of move along with that. So I will just focus on that rather than trying to stamp my way of doing things on them because that's not useful. Also, I'm not going to spend that much time with this person. Really, mostly I spend very little time outside anyways. And I spend very little time with people in general anyways. But if I do spend time with people, it's not like I'm spending that much time with them, right? So I'm spending like maybe a few minutes with them. Why not just learn a little bit about them and then, let them teach me something, right? And it always, because I go in with this attitude every single time, I've noticed that every single sensing person I've met, or every person in general, I think, ends up teaching me something or the other, something small, something big. Something small, something major, something big, something not, right? And it doesn't really matter to me. I'm just here to learn, and whatever it is, everyone has a lesson for us. I've done this video before. Everyone has a lesson for us. And even sensing, actually, mostly a lot of sensing people have a lot of good lessons for us, and they can teach us a lot. Because as intuitive people, we probably end up spending all of our time around intuitive people because that just feels comfortable. It's like, you're putting on a glove that you've been wearing for so long. It just feels so comfortable and you don't want to go out in the real world and deal with sensing people. But the reality is, because they're so different, because they look at the world so differently, because they are sensors, they're going to be able to teach us how to look at the world in a different fashion. And they're going to be able to teach us a lot about the world in general because we're spending all of our time in our heads. They can teach us what the physical realm is all about. Yeah, they can teach us about the physical world, which is a lot of times, I think, our fault, our mistake, I think, that we try as much as possible to live in our heads, whereas I think the balance would be great. If you could spend more and more time in the real world, in the physical realm, we would really learn a lot, not only about ourselves, but about our impact and how we can make an impact on this planet. Because you're not going to make an impact, as I've said, in your head. You're going to make an impact in the real world. And a lot of times, sensors are the ones who are going to help you make that impact, right? They're the ones who are going to teach you how you can live in this physical world and make that impact that you're looking for, okay? So you're not going to be able to do it with an intuitive person because they're spending all their time in their head. Sometimes you can, but a lot of times you're going to have to bring in a sensing person in order to do what you want to do, okay? I hope this makes sense, all right? I don't know if I exactly answered your question. I wanted to say that they're not monsters of any kind, right? Or they're not like someone that you should avoid, or they're not dangerous or scary. or something different, too different from us. A lot of them are just humans, just like us. They want to do good in the world. They want to eat good food and be in love and spend time with family. So they're typically they're just humans, right? Of course, they look at the world in a very different fashion, and so that kind of scares us a bit sometimes. But I would say just deal with them as you deal with every human. Try to learn from them. Try to ask them as many questions as possible, and stay open. Stay open to the idea that they might be able to teach you something or open your eyes to a different way of looking at the world rather than the way you look at it always. Yeah, it can get boring after a while, or it can get very stifling, and you can end up putting yourself in a box, and you don't want to do that, right? You want to stay open and forever growing and flexible and adaptable. I hope this makes sense. Sometimes I do these videos and I wonder if I'm making any sense. I hope I did. Of course, if you guys want to support me further, you're welcome to do so by going on to my Patreon link. It is in the description below. And I shall see you guys next time. Bye!